Deadman Armageddon is now just a couple days out, and in this video we're going to go over some final tips you'll want to consider before release. And to kick things off, let's talk about probably one of the most important mechanics in Deadman, especially early on, and that is your immunity. As soon as the servers kickstart, you will be given 1 hour of immunity in the first bracket, and every single time you level up into one of the next combat brackets after, you will get an additional hour of immunity. Under the immunity, you cannot attack or be attacked by other players, so this time is really where you want to have a well-made plan to get as much progress done as possible while you're completely safe from being set back. Usually activities that have very high risk, where if you were caught without immunity, it would be incredibly difficult to escape. Getting protection prayers, doing quests like Grand Tree, Waterfall, Fight Arena, and Tree Gnome Village are all incredibly common, very early game strats to use your first hour as soon as the servers launch. Now, a couple bonus tips that go along with immunity and completing quest. The first one is you really want to calc out when and where you're going to be completing any quests that give combat experience. For example, you don't want to complete Waterfall quest and get that massive chunk of combat XP and accidentally bump yourself into the next combat bracket before you're ready to take advantage of that immunity. And the other side of that is jumping into the next combat bracket before completing a quest and gaining the XP reward. Taking option 2 of the Elf storyline in the second 51 to 70 bracket would automatically complete Waterfall quest. And if you were not already aware, any quests that are auto-completed with bouncing between brackets, you do not get the XP reward from. So if you planned on taking the Elf storyline and you wanted to get the massive XP bump from Waterfall, you would need to complete it in the first bracket. Now, another tip I think is highly underrated, and that is have a backup plan. Everybody has a step-by-step plan of what they want to do as soon as the servers launch with their hour of immunity or even right afterwards. But a lot of times things don't go exactly as planned. Minor setbacks here and there, your immunity runs out before you expected it to, and all of a sudden you get PK'd and lose all of the progress you've made up to this point. Without a backup plan and knowing what you would do next in this scenario, it becomes incredibly demotivating. That's all this tip really is. Have a backup plan, have something you're going to do if things turn south. Next up, you want to take a pit stop here in the Varrock Museum. Up these stairs is a historian, and when you talk to him about the quest you've completed and helping him fill his displays, he will reward you with 2 XP lamps that are worth 1k XP each in the main game. But due to the Deadman XP multiplier, you will get 10k XP for each lamp that you can use on any skill over the level of 20. And this is due to the auto-completed quests we already have in the first bracket, being Shield of Arab and Merlin's Crystal. Well worth the time of stopping here to get a free 20k XP. While you're at it, and this one is a tip as old as time, down here in the basement below the museum you can complete this quiz, and as your reward you will get level 27 in both Slayer and Hunter. Make sure you do bring food down here just in case. Most likely it will not be a problem, but it is not a safe zone in this basement. Now, continuing on the same note of XP lamps, you can get one of the regular XP lamps / like the genie lamps from Count Check here in Lumbridge. In order to get that lamp, I believe you have to have the authenticator set up and a bank pin. This is only one of the basic XP lamps that scales with your level, so it isn't nearly as important as the 2 from the museum. But it doesn't take much effort to add this into your plan for some free XP. I'm sure you'll be stopping by Nigel to use your 1 free daily teleport. If you get your bank pin set up prior to that, you can get a little free XP lamp quite quickly. And then the last thing to note why we're here is that Count Check will not teleport you to the stronghold like he has in past Deadmans. That mechanic has been disabled just like in Apocalypse, but Nigel will still offer his 1 teleport every day. And then the final tip I'm going to include in this video is be mindful of new updates that weren't in Deadman Apocalypse. And the first part of that is really just all of the new content. Things like Varlamore, Perilous Moons, the Hunter's Guild, new Mixed Hide Armor, which is going to be very good on early game accounts. And also other new content and drop table changes like Zombie Pirates or the Wilderness Agility Arena. But the second part of this tip is more in relation to the combat rebalancing, and even more specifically in terms of the magic skill. Quite a few NPCs in the game now have magic weaknesses, meaning you're going to be able to use spells that hit just as hard, if not harder than they did before, while also using less runes at the exact same time. Things like blue dragons having a weakness to water spells, or even something like barrows having a weakness to air spells. And these changes might not make the most dramatic difference, but they can definitely save you time and money if you take them into account. But that's going to do it for this video. I did want to keep it short and sweet and only include some of what I felt like was the more important tips. If you guys did enjoy, consider dropping a like. It massively helps me out. Otherwise, leave a comment down below if there was a tip you feel like I should have mentioned in this video. Or let me know your plans for what you're going to be doing in Deadman Armageddon.